Hey everyone, Gerard Scarpesi here, craft hairdresser and co-founder of the Hairbrain community. Excited today to present to you Tippy Shorter, who's the global artistic director for Mizani. She's going to be showing you the new approach, the new cutting technique that she's helped to develop as a Mizani cutting technique, working with highly textured hair and textured hair. So we're really excited about this. She's got a beautiful model, Bethany. Say hi, Bethany. How gorgeous she is, that smile, that beautiful hair. So we're really excited to learn about this technique. I know you guys love learning about curly, textured hair and different approaches. We're gonna see some dry cutting, then we're gonna revert the hair wet and show some styling. So you want to watch all the way through.
Exactly.
I'll be hanging in here for questions, and of course I'm going to have tons of questions for Tippy because you know I love learning, but I want to share your questions as well. So shout outs, questions, go ahead and type them in and I'll share them with Tippy. All right, Tippy, so how do we get started here?
So I am, first of all, let me just start off by saying that I pre-cut one side of her hair just because I wanted to make sure I took my time and I was able to answer questions and work and get through the entire style for you guys. So I'm now working on one half, and I start by creating my frame. So I have her in sections, and my first section is my frame, which is basically following her hairline for about an inch. This really is dependent on the density of her hair. And then I have my foundation back here, I've got my support, and then I've got my canopy, and I'm gonna cut in those exact manners. One thing before I start cutting, I wanted to share with you guys is one important reason to note why you would not blow out the hair or cut the hair wet while cutting textured hair is this exact reason right here. You see how tight these curls are versus how loose these curls are? Her last haircut was blown out and straightened and then cut, and as a result, she's got a shelf here and these long random layers back here.
So what people think is precise because the hair is straight and the lines are so straight don't mean it's precise once that hair is reverted back to natural texture.
Exactly.
Yeah, and that's a big lesson.
Yeah.
If she's going to wear it straight all the time, then maybe that could work.
Exactly. So when a guest comes into your salon and you're cutting their hair, you're going to ask them, how do you wear your hair 75% of the time?
Yeah.
And if it is natural, then that's how you're going to cut their hair. And then the rarest occasion when they do go in and they cut and they want to straighten it out, then you will go ahead and have to just, kind of finesse and refine those ends.
Right. So maybe use a curling iron. So if they're wearing it straight all the time, curly all the time, and then they want it straight, maybe instead of totally pinned straight, they can just bump the ends.
Add some body to it, exactly.
Because then it'll work, but it won't work like lopsided.
Exactly.
All right, I want to give a few shout outs while you get started there. Sivin Solano is watching from Chile.
Hey.
Manisha Johnson says, "What's up, Tippy?"
Hey, Manisha.
Laura says, "Hello from Montana."
Hey there.
Blanca Ramirez says she should be working, but she's intrigued to see what's happening here. All right, guys, so if you have questions or you want to share the love, just go ahead and type it in. Let's get into Tippy's technique.
Fantastic. So so I don't know if you guys can tell, but I'm using a curve shear, which is really helping the technique that we're calling air cut. And the method is a glide, right? So what I'm not doing is just pulling a curl and cutting it perpendicular, because then I'm gonna have a bunch of random curls that if she ever wants to curl it, wear it straight, she's gonna have these random choppy bits all throughout. So a glide cut is a curved motion with a curved shear. So I'm still getting a really nice solid cut, but it'll blend in.
So you're closing as you're curving
I'm closing,
through.
exactly,
You don't just
not
close.
slicing, exactly.
It's closing as you move through.
Exactly.
So it's still a clean cut, but a clean cut in motion?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Creating a C curvature.
And at some point, hold those up to the camera so we can really see what you mean
Yes.
by curved. Let's get a good shot of that, Justine. Yeah, so you can see it's just got a slight curve. And these have been around for a while. People use them for different things. I don't know that the mass of hairdressers has kind of accepted them yet, but I'm a huge fan.
I am too.
And I'm excited to see this approach.
Yay. So I bought these super randomly at a beauty show. I couldn't even tell you who makes them. I know that you did say, you mentioned someone who you think they are. And if you guys want to know, ask Gerard to tell you. But one of the biggest features of the air cut is to create air. So traditionally with texture cutting, you do linear cuts, right? So you just take hair and you cut it straight, or you take curl by curl. And I mentioned what happens when it's curl by curl. If you take hair and you just cut it straight like I did my foundation, I'm just gonna get a stacked style. What the air cut is doing, it's allowing little pockets of air which allow movement. If I gave her a linear cut, if I lift this, the entire piece is lifting up. Now I have room if you can see all those little nooks and crannies and pockets of air. So when I do style her hair, she's gonna have beautiful popping curls.
All right, we've got a couple questions coming in. I'm
Yep.
going to share this pose first with all my followers to make sure they can see this great lesson. Let's see. So, tension questions. Both Monica, Cheryl, and Ashley Dombrowski are wondering, how do you determine tension? What's your thought? Are you stretching the hair? Is it very loosely held?
Sure.
Talk to us about tension.
Sure. So tension is where the texture type, and that's really the only time texture type comes into play. I have zero tension. It's allowing to lay in its natural, where it's laying naturally. How I determine my angle is I'm going to make sure my knuckle touches the curl that's above, and I'm going to grab the hair there. I'm going to make sure I securely grab the hair, and now I'm able to pull it up, but never losing my guide. And then I'm going to do my curve haircut.
That was another question coming in from Monica Cheryl. No, I'm sorry. There's a lot of questions coming in, so I'm trying to keep up. This one was coming in from Elizabeth Munoz. Thank you for the question. Do you take a guide from the previous curl?
I do. I take a guide from the previous curl, and this is where we're bringing the technical back in. So the whole goal is to make it easy, right? So traditionally, you just have to visually see a shape, you grab a piece, you cut, you hope it falls into place. Now we're actually adding a technical piece back into it. So I'm able to create graduation, but with air.
So now I know that you've got a fairly new role, super exciting role as a global artistic director for Mizani, and you're bringing this cutting approach to Mizani. How will you guys be training? Are there going to be regular classes? Are they in salon? Are there academy classes? How are you going to spread this love out there?
Absolutely. So we're launching this entire cutting technique in September. And
so we're getting a preview, especially
so this is Hairbrain, yes.
You guys are lucky. If you hang out with the right people, you get that special treatment.
This is getting, the class is fresh off the press. I mean, we haven't even printed the literature and everything for it yet. We just went through all the field testing, worked on many different types of textures, many densities, and because we wanted to make sure that this is applicable to every texture type.
So when you talk about texture type, and it's always something that's interested me that I have to say I'm not an expert in. Do you use the system, like the number system?
So Mizani.
Can you explain that to our viewers? Because
Sure.
I learned about it the last time we did some Mizani education, and I'm still very intrigued by it because it's not something I was brought up learning.
Sure. So Mizani has a texture key, and if you roll into any Salon Centric or speak to your rep, they can definitely get you the Mizani key, but of course you get it when you order product. And we work on a texture system of 1 through 8, 1 being naturally bone straight, wet to dry, 2 having a slight open wave, 3 having a very round loopy curl, and then it gets tighter from there until you get to a zigzag coil at 8.
And what would you say Bethany is?
Bethany lands somewhere between, I'm saying she's on the scale of about 5. But she's got 3 different textures in her hair.
Right, so she might have a 5, a 4, and a...
Yeah.
Which most people do, right? Yeah.
Bethany lands somewhere between, I'm going to say, she's 3 on top. You think of these pieces here. But her coarseness makes it appear that it's tighter. So she lands really somewhere between a 3 and a 6.
Bradley Pirtle is wondering how long it took to get comfortable using curved scissors.
I'll tell you that I still keep a bag. What did I ask you for today, Natalie? I said, hey, when you come, can you bring some towels and some Band-Aids? So I still keep Band-Aids with me. I'm super comfortable. I've been working with these, but also this is a class I've been developing for 3 years.
So let's talk about that a little bit. How do you develop, are you cutting dozens of mannequin heads and...
Dozens of people offering tons of free haircuts, dozens of mannequins.
So you have an idea, you want to formulate it, trial and error, and you've just been practicing and now it's ready for prime time?
Exactly. That is exactly it. I make sure. So I currently live in Kansas City, where we have a very diverse group of men and women, and I'm in a salon there 1 day a week, and I offer free haircuts to anyone who will allow me to take my time, do some testing. They might have to sit in there for a while. If it doesn't come out great the first time, I make sure that they know they can come back, And so I really did. I took my time, and I did tons and tons of techniques. Lots of training personally, from the techniques that are out there. And I wanted to make sure that what we're doing is a really great technical foundation, but something that's easy to grasp. And then most importantly, takes the guesswork out, because again, like I said, cutting texture hair, it's equal parts science, art, and technique. And then a lot of the techniques that are out there, or a lot of the methods that are out there right now, are really all art. It's kind of like,
Just
hey,
kind of sculpting.
I see the shape and I'm gonna go in and cut, which is great if that's your thing, but that's not everybody's thing. And some people might want to say, hey, I loved your cut, can you recreate it? Well, things like that, they're really hard to recreate.
Yeah, but it's all about diversity. Find what works for you.
Exactly.
But what I like here is it's very systematic. Your partings, the way you're holding it, it seems like something you could recreate, and you're not just sculpting a one-off, which is great.
Exactly. And also, Jordan, let me go back, because I don't know if I finished, because I talk a lot. So I wanted to say that back to the trainings, it launches in September, and we're offering 2 different types of training, where we will offer in-salon classes, and then we will also offer cluster certification. So if you are not in a salon and you're, a studio stylist or freelance stylist, or, just not in a salon, basically, we will also offer
So
classes.
it's going to be a certification thing where you can say to people, hey, you want to say I'm certified in this Mizani cutting technique.
Exactly.
And that's great, because again, there's a trust issue. If usually people have textured hair, and I'm one of them.
Yes.
Would say, oh, well, Tippy's got textured hair, so she's probably going to be able to cut my hair. But Justine has bone straight hair, and you might think, well, I don't want her touching my hair. You know what I mean?
And let me dispel that myth.
Which is sad. It's a
Let
myth.
me dispel that myth, by the way, because just because someone has textured hair does not mean they know.
No, absolutely.
Yeah, does not mean.
And vice versa, just because you have straight hair doesn't mean you can't do textured hair.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So, but it's nice to the general public to be able to say, I'm certified in this Mizani cutting technique, and they're the leader in working with textured hair.
Exactly.
So I think that's a great move forward.
And have been, and kind of brings me back to my very first introduction to Mizani. They were the leaders when I first started beauty school in the 90s for smoothing out textured hair. So for me, Mizani was the very first relaxer I used, and has always been in my kit as a relaxer, has always been in my salon as a relaxer. And so when they launched the texture line, for me, it only made sense that was, a brand that I wanted to join, because I speak texture every day, and I was really happy to be able to be a part of a company that spoke to texture every day, whether you wear it straight, curly, however you want to wear it.
So let's go back. When you were starting off, you were talking about your sectioning. You used a couple of architectural terms that I really liked, like the foundation, the canopy. Can you break that down for us again?
Sure, and this is why hair cutting works with zones. So we work with zones, and like I said, we take the guesswork out of it. So zone 1 is creating our frame. So this is where we establish our length. Zone 2 and 3 are in the back, and this is our foundation. And this is where we either create the weight, take away the weight, because most curly girls have challenges, and most of that sit right on our shoulders. And just because I have thick hair doesn't necessarily mean I want thick hair around my shoulders.
Right.
So this is where we go in and do our interior gliding. So our glide technique has about 6 variables. We have an interior glide, an exterior glide.
And this is the glide technique.
Yes.
Holding. Again, we have to repeat a lot because lots of people are joining.
Absolutely.
So this is really the essence. After understanding the sectioning, then it's understanding the glide technique.
And then the variables of the glide. So right now I'm doing an exterior glide, and exterior glides are where you're able to create your shapes, whether it's 45, 90. And then we have an interior glide, which then takes away the weight. And what you're about to see me do now is an upward glide, which is what enhances volume.
It sounds like maybe that's going to come from the underneath.
That is going to come from the underneath, exactly.
I like it. It's logical. It makes sense. It's a system. That's what a system is, And you've got the way you break it down, the way you use the tool, seems translatable and learnable, and something people could build on, so that's great. If you're just joining us, we're here in New York City. I'm Gerard Scarpese, co-founder of the Hairbrain Community. I'm here with Tippy Shorter, someone I've known for quite a few years, but this is our first time working intimately together, which I'm super excited about, because you guys know I love learning new things. And Tippy's sharing with us this Mizani cutting technique that she developed. She is now the global artistic director for Mizani, which I think is is fantastic. It's like peaches and cream, goes
Yeah.
really well together. And let's talk a little bit about that journey. So it's something that just started in the past couple months.
Yes.
And what will your role be like? What kind of things will you be doing?
A little bit of everything, and some things I wasn't even expecting. So, as the Global Artistic Director, I am responsible for creating education, which is, as I'm here sharing this haircutting technique with you. I am responsible for training the trainers, so training all the amazing educators Mizani has to go out and facilitate these classes in salon. We are launching Access, which is an online education portal through L'Oreal Professional. And you'll see my mug a great deal on there. So delivering education. So there you're gonna get Texture What's the 411, which is actually the prerequisite to this hair cutting class because it teaches all the fundamentals to textured hair, general and basic styling. So, you know, if you come in, someone comes in to get a cut, you know what to do after.
Lots of love coming in from our friends. Carrie Balin is watching. Randy Taylor is watching.
Hey,
our
Randy.
co-founder of Hairbrand.
Hi, Randy.
There's been a couple of questions. I know we addressed this once, but we can never address it too many times. How do you handle this if it's going to be worn straight? And how do you determine? Can you just review what you discussed earlier? Because lots of people are joining us.
Sure. So just making sure that I'm good on my time so I don't run out. So basically, the glide technique is a curving technique, which is very different than cutting the curl perpendicular. So because I'm gliding, and I'll just give you a really great open close, right? So I still have very clean ends here, but they're diffused. And there's a little pocket of air here. So when we wet her, put product in her, and wear her curly, her curls are all individual and separated versus huge and clumped together, creating a big afro. And also, let me just say, an afro is not a term for hair. Afro is a hairstyle, and we don't want that. We want gorgeous flowing curls.
It's just when the hair is all pulled out and thatched.
Exactly.
Yeah?
So it's a style, right? So when we blow her out and smooth her, all these beautiful diffused ends are going to just flow right into one another. We're not going to have these random choppy pieces.
That's the way the ends are just tapered down.
Exactly.
Yep. Now, there was also a question from Jen McCall. Do you wash and diffuse dry the hair prior to cutting, or do you just wait till after?
That's a really great question. So thanks for asking that. Consultation is key here. So I always recommend when I give classes for the stylist to make sure their front desk are asking your guest, hey, if they don't know a texture type they have when they're calling in for a haircut, not haircut, when they're calling in for an haircut, we like to ask, hey, tell us what celebrity your curls are most like. That'll give you a really great idea what spectrum of 2 through 8 to expect.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a huge point for us. So once we understand that, we're like, hey, can you please come cleansed with light leave-in? You want to know what the hair does. You don't want them coming in fully styled, full of product, because if she came in full of product, this area here that's super short would hang longer, and it would be a misconception for me, and I would approach her haircut very differently. Now that I know that this shrinks more, I can address that in her styling, which I'm going to, and I'll share.
So you asked them to cleanse it, just leave in conditioner, let it dry naturally?
Let it dry naturally and come on in.
Yeah.
Now, if that's not the case, then you can build in time. And, you know, we were talking about just suggesting to stylists that you just offer a built-in time right off the bat. You know, and then you cleanse them, you sit them under the dryer to allow them to dry.
That's what I was going to say. It doesn't have to eat into your chair time.
Exactly.
If you plan it out, if you wrap it a little bit, and they come in, you know, maybe 20 minutes or half hour early, I guess depending on how thick the hair is.
Well, you can build it in, honestly.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I think a really great way to approach it is adding the 15 to 20 minute time and price to that service for all first-time customers. And then your maintenance cuts thereafter are shorter and maybe slightly less expensive because all that guesswork is gone. So we've got this gorgeous shape.
Our good friend Steven Statlin out from Asbury Park, he's wondering how important is the curve shear? Could you do this technique with a regular?
You totally could, but the key here is making sure that you are following that curve motion.
The curve just helps with that bending motion.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Once again, it just takes that guesswork out.
Lots of love coming in. Michael Snyder says he's loving all this.
Yay.
Christina L, he says gorgeous. And again, guys, we definitely love all your questions. I have a feeling you're going to start getting into the styling now. You got your basic shape in the hair.
Yes. And, I mean, she could leave.
Totally.
Right?
Yeah.
How cute does she look?
Yeah,
I mean,
gorgeous.
I want that.
Yeah.
She could totally leave now, and some people might just be like, hey, this is it, this is awesome. And that's the really great thing, is that you don't want to be like, okay, wait, now we have to go do this. Like, you want to make sure that you are treating the hair well. So with that, your touch is super important. I mean, I'm sure that you can notice not once did I do any.
Yeah, you weren't raking through the hair
None
at all.
of that. All
Very
of my movement.
delicate and kind of visually finding the curls that you wanted to cut, separating them. Very
Exactly.
gently.
And actually, this is my cutting aid, 25 Miracle Milk. So what you didn't see me do, because I did it before before we became live, is I sprayed 25 Miracle Milk in my hands.
Yeah, and there was a question if you had any product in the hair,
I
so that's
did.
what was in there.
Yeah, so she's prepped with the Mizani cleansing conditioner, and she has a little of the curl enhancing cream
I'll
as
tell you
a
what,
leave-in.
I'm a big fan. I use this
The
very
foam?
often in my
Yeah,
hair.
yeah.
'Cause I love foams for
Yeah.
my hair. So last shoot, I got some of this.
Yeah.
And I love foam in my hair
Yeah.
because I just wash and wear, and I
Exactly.
found that was great. I know it's like a wrapping foam,
So
but it dries beautiful naturally.
FYI, I
Yeah.
also have foam in my hair.
Yeah, there you
So 2 different hair types, and we both have foam. The
Yeah.
additional thing that I have that you don't is I also have some coil oil gel. So I use
What?
foam.
Maybe I need you
Yeah.
to get me some coil
Yeah.
oil.
Well,
Yeah.
so I know we were going to speak to products, but that's when you start choosing your products based on how your hair feels.
Now, this might work well with the question that Cody Sensing just brought. Does Mizani have a product that gives hair good shine and sculpt, or I guess hold, without making it too heavy?
Absolutely.
I think this is definitely a
Yeah.
good one, the one that we were just
Yeah.
talking about.
So the
but
foam is amazing.
Yeah.
It has great shine. It's lightweight.
super light.
It's super light, a really light hold, but enough hold.
Yeah, I mean, I put it in mine, let it air dry, and then I just shake it out so I don't have like a crunchy look.
Right, exactly.
And that's what I love about that.
And that's traditional for most, products that have a hold, is like when you dry. And this also depends on how you dry. So if you're putting a, all right, there we go.
Yes, I have that one.
Live shot problems. If you are putting, under the dryer, that tends to make products that have holes a little harder than
Sure.
if you were drying naturally.
Right, right. All right, guys, if you're just joining us, Tippy just completed her air cut using her new glide technique, which is part of the Mizani cutting system, which was awesome. And if you missed it, the good news is you can watch it at any time, because these stay on our Facebook page, and you can go back and watch it and really dissect the technique. I like to say, I love simple. That was a simple technique, just executed really well with lots of theory behind it, which is great. Now you're doing some styling, which I know can be intimidating to a lot of people that maybe don't have a lot of experience with curly or textured hair. So the hair cutting we got down. Now teach us about styling this type of, it's like a 5 and a 3. Is that what we said?
Yeah, so she's got 3. She's got 3 around the top. She's kind of got 5 through, and then she might have like 6. She's actually like me. I have what I like to call earmuffs. I've got my.
So do you sometimes use different products in different places
I
to
do.
deal with that? Yeah.
So I'm actually going to be using the curl enhancing lotion for 90% of her hair, and then these short bits.
Get a good shot so you can see what you're
Thank
using.
you. So these short bits that are right above her ear that are a little tighter and as a result dry a little shorter, I'm going to use the coil oil gel, which is essentially the same type of product. It just has more hold and a bit more weight.
Best name ever.
Coil oil gel.
Coil oil
well,
gel.
say that 5 times.
Yeah.
Coil oil gel. Go.
I'll have to put my teeth back in.
So we just call it COG for short.
I think I'm leaving with some of this today.
Yeah, I think you're leaving with some of that.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So I've got slightly larger than like a bean size. You notice her hair is super wet. I like to say it's sprinkling. It's not pouring, right? It's not like running down her back. And then you saw me spray in the 25 Miracle Milk, which is like, I like to say Mizani Magic. It's awesome. I use it for curls. I use it for refreshing curls. I use it before blowouts. It's pretty fantastic.
And the application of the product means a lot, right? I think,
Yeah.
a lot of guests or clients don't quite get the thoroughness of how to apply this.
So I am raking through to make sure that the product is evenly distributed. I'm coming through and I'm coming across a few snags, so which lets me know that after I am drying her hair and she's fully styled, I'm gonna have to go back because I might have had some curls that were hiding that I'm gonna have to make sure that I get. So I'm gonna do a detangle.
Just gently working from the ends.
Yep, I'm working.
Yep.
And then what it does, not only is it detangling, but it's also, you'll see, it helps the curls.
Yeah, it kind of separates them, right? Each
It
one of the
separates
pins
them.
on the brush.
Exactly.
Yeah. And it smooths the cuticle a bit too.
Smooths the cuticle, and but because it allows the product to fully surround the hair strand. Yes. Thank you. All right, so well, no, let me get it before Gerard tries to take it home.
Mhm.
All right, so even though it's just funny because it's a heavier consistency, so it promotes elongation. It's actually a lighter formula.
I love the. Actually, I was just talking about this with Justine before. I love like the combination of cream and oil and
Yes.
a gel like that.
Yeah.
As a L'Oreal professional product that I love, the tender and
That has
bouncy.
that,
Yeah. So I don't know if this is the same, but just by looking at it,
It feels the
reminds,
same?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It reminds me of something I really like.
So you can even see how it helped to elongate this piece just by applying it over that initial
I
product.
mean, product should change the hair immediately.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it shouldn't be like a mystery of what this is
Like,
going to
what's
look
it
like.
look like?
Especially when you're working with textured hair. I mean, you should be able to tell right away.
You should have
This-
slip. Slip is what you're looking for.
Yeah.
You're looking for slip, you're looking for shine immediately, and also you're looking for the removal of frizz. If you apply product and it still has frizz, one of two things. The hair wasn't wet enough when you applied product, or you didn't apply enough product.
Yeah. Or maybe you chose the completely wrong product.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Or so there's the third option.
Yeah. Jen McCall wants to thank you, Tippy. This is excellent. Thanks so much for sharing your knowledge. And yeah, again, guys, I know some of you guys do a lot of curly textured hair and are maybe very versed in it, but a lot of us maybe aren't. And the truth is, why cut yourself off from a potential source of income, satisfaction, creativity, and also a great way to build your reputation. I'm great at blonding, great at bobs, great at texture. I remember this old story a hairdresser told me once that he had like 20 different business cards.
Oh.
And each one said color specialist, curly hair specialist, color correction color specialist, bob so depending on who he was, like if he met someone in the mall with a bob,
Yeah.
say, hey, here's my card with a bob. I thought that was just,
I
honestly, I
love
don't know
that.
if it's true.
Yeah, I don't know.
But it's a great
That's
story.
a lot of relationships
that's-
with.
that's a lot of business cards, right?
That's a lot of relationships with
Yeah, like a
the
little
printing company.
file of facts.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, so I would love to add on to that is that currently, and I shared with you my trip to Italy, how I saw so many women who did not look like me at all, skin tone wise, but had my exact hair type. So I really want to make sure that everyone understands that textured hair has nothing to do with skin tone,
Right.
ethnicity, race, any of that stuff. It's
Yeah.
really all about.
I'm about as pink as you can
Right.
get. I have pretty curly hair.
You do, exactly.
Yeah.
So with that being said, 65% of the global population has textured hair. And if you aren't, you probably have tons of clients with textured hair in your salon now. They're just choosing to have their hair blown out.
Or sometimes they're not even choosing it. It's just what hairdressers
Just
do
do.
automatically.
Yeah.
I've had seen that so many times where people just they think maybe, I'm not really giving them their money's worth unless I blow it out. But I've found I'd never blow hair out. Mostly because I'm lazy, but really because I love natural texture. So I've been able to build a clientele where I don't ever pick up a brush, very, very rarely. So
Yeah.
it can be done.
Exactly. Also, so, knowing how to cut textured hair, knowing how to color textured hair, and then knowing how to blow out textured hair without heat damage.
Yeah.
You can nail those three things. You've got it.
Got it.
Yeah.
So again, lots of love coming in. Manisha says loves the look of the curls.
Thank you.
Margaret Peterson is asking what's the spray. So far, Margaret, there's been 2 sprays. One is just water because Tippy did dry hair cutting, and then one is the 25 Miracle Milk, which is a leave-in conditioner that really has aided in the cutting and the prepping of the hair. And now adding in some different styling products. So we'll talk a little bit about
Yeah.
what'd you just put in. I saw
So
you put
this is
guy.
that's the coil. No, so in
Curl
the back.
enhancing lotion.
Yeah, so in the back I've got curl enhancing lotion, and then on my sides that are my shorter bits that I want more elongation, those are getting the coil oil gel.
So it's 2 different products.
Yes. So you're kind of like spot treating the texture.
Got a little on my hands.
Yeah, try it, yeah.
And again, thorough application. You don't just put a big glob in your hand and pull it through. You're resectioning. And do you recommend this for your clients at home? Resection your hair?
Yeah, absolutely. So obviously at home and even in the salon, her entire head would be wet. So you're not going like section by section to wet the hair. But you apply product section by section.
Arista Coral, who's an old fan for over 5 years now, has taken classes with you in the past.
Hey.
She is wondering how she can find out about taking these new classes. Will there be a
Yes.
posted schedule somewhere?
Yes, so I implore everyone now to go to Mazzani. There's my brush, oh goodness, see that tangle. I implore everyone to go to Mazzani, follow at Mazzani. Also,
On Instagram, it's at Mazzani.
At Mazzani. Also follow me because everything's launching in September. And thank you so much, Natalie. So I quit walking in front of your camera. So follow me at Tippy Shorter and then at Mazzani. All the classes are launching as well as Access. Access is online, so you can just register to take the Texture What's the 411 course there. But in terms of the haircutting, you can register. And Mazzani will announce what that site is because I don't think it's Mazzani.com.
So the most straightforward thing is to follow at Mazzani on Instagram and is it just Tippy Shorter?
Just Tippy Shorter.
At Tippy Shorter.
Not
you guys
just Tippy Shorter, but at
just
Tippy.
at Tippy Shorter. No underscores, no hyphens.
No.
And all the information will be released there, and there'll be some online components where you can go and sign out.
Exactly. Yeah.
Dominique Hall says she can't wait to try this Mazzani layering, and says clears before cream. Always, that's beautiful. I can't wait to take this course.
Yes.
So that's like a little language clear product before cream.
I don't know if it's a thing, but for me, I do products that penetrate before products that sit. And styling products sit, leave-in products penetrate.
Okay.
So,
Yeah.
kind of same thing.
Makes sense. So
Yeah.
get in there and then seal it.
Exactly.
Yeah, totally. And again, thorough application, dampening the hair. The hair was cut dry, guys. If you missed that, you can watch it at any time on our Hairbrain video section. Really something to learn there. Simple, beautiful haircut using a glide technique with curved shears. And now the thorough application of product, which is really half the battle to get this beautiful form curl.
Exactly. So once you've got a really great shape, you want to make sure that your guest is able to recreate it at home. So making sure that you're applying the appropriate products and also then making sure that they're taking them home so they can continue to partner with the products.
And then do you tend to use a blow dryer and diffuser? Do you tend to use heat lamps or air lamps or anything like that?
I just, as I mentioned, I just taught this class to our haircutting educators, Mazzani educators. And one of the things I told them is that, I've taken so many haircutting classes over the last 5 years. Well, just, for my own, just never stop learning, right?
Absolutely.
And I never felt
I take a class every day.
Right, of course you
Literally,
do.
yeah.
And so I didn't feel fulfilled because a lot of the times the answer I get is, it depends. And I'm like, well, it depends on what. And if you're not going to go any further, that frustrates me, right? So I set out as a goal to create something that wasn't an answer.
Yeah, some theory, some steps.
So I say that to say that now I'm going to say it depends. It depends regarding drying, but I'm going to tell you why because I'm all about the why. Number one solution is always air drying, but if you're in a salon, that's not an option unless you have a heat lamp or one of those circulating air.
Sure. They get pretty high tech and they can be pretty awesome.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So those types of things I think are really great because they simulate just sitting in the sun. My second choice would be diffusing or just holding the diffuser around the hair.
It's like literally baking it,
exactly.
not disturbing
well, not bake, yeah.
I mean that in a good way.
But in the best way.
Just call it
yes.
baking mean don't touch it.
Yeah.
Just get the airflow evenly around.
Baking in the best way possible.
Yeah.
And then my third option would be under a hooded dryer, with the dryer sitting as high as possible away from the hair and shooting air. The reason why that's my least is because that particular method flattens your hair. So if you're wanting to have like a big, full, bountiful shape, sitting under the dryer actually compresses everything. So then you will have to still go back and refluff with the diffuser.
I want to give a couple shout outs to some friends. My buddy Christine Zielinski, we saw her last night. It was always great to see Christine. Sylvester Montiel would like a recap. Sylvester, we started off here, Tippy started off with a dry cutting technique, which was very, very beautifully explained, and you guys can go back and watch that anytime. So Sylvester, when this is done, you can actually start right from the beginning, and you'll be able to watch the whole cutting technique step by step. Tippy did an incredible job explaining it. It's beautiful, fluid technique. Monica Sherrill is wondering, how often do you recommend a trim for this type of haircut, this type of curl?
Great question, Monica. And actually, my beautiful model Bethany just asked me the same thing. And what I explained to her is it depends on what you do to your hair. So if you're someone, or if your guest is someone who is a style shifter, and every 2 to 3 weeks they're doing something totally different, they're straightening it out, or they're coloring it consistently and highlighting, or they're setting, they are someone who is on the 6 to 8 week train. If you've got someone who does absolutely nothing but wet it every 3 or 4 days, conditions, puts product in it, and they do nothing else to their hair, they're more on the 8 to 12 week train.
Great. So in terms,
I don't want to give you, it depends.
Yeah.
I'm working hard to not depend.
Yeah. As far as product development goes, in your new role as the Global Artistic Director, is that something you're going to be testing stuff and giving feedback and helping Mizani develop new products?
Absolutely. So there's actually product testing happening today. So I chose to be with you guys. No, I don't even know if I had the option to be there, honestly, but I am with you guys instead. I had the amazing opportunity to be a part of a testing a couple of months ago, and I'm super excited about some of the things that are coming down the pike for Mizani. So yes, that is a part of some of the things that I'm doing, in addition to on air, editor, visuals, photos, things like that. And I don't know if you got a chance to see, Gerard, but we launched a Facebook series called Texture Table Talk.
Well, I was there when you guys were filming. If you remember,
you were there.
I stole your set for a few minutes to record a video of my own.
So when I went back to when I spoke about,
I want to be a guest.
You should be a
Come
guest.
On. I fit in. I got
I just as a person who's in the beauty industry, and you are sharing to the beauty community, and just how you represent and share and help show and showcase texture, I think is important to talk about.
Let's do it.
Yeah.
Here's a question coming in from Christine Zielinski, my good friend, and I think it's a great one. How often should people with extremely curly hair shampoo?
Don't
say it depends.
All right, I know, I'm not going to. When your scalp will tell you. Your scalp and your hair will tell you.
Yeah.
If your scalp is itchy and your hair looks and feels dry, you need to. Actually, it's probably a day too late.
Yeah.
So your scalp will tell you. I can just give you an example on what I expect from you also. I have to co-wash my hair every 3 to 4 days. One, because the 4th day my hair just is not like cute anymore, and my scalp starts to itch. So I can, in the summer, I am more on the 3-day cycle, and then in the winter, but like all the other seasons, I'm more on the 4-day.
So based on the scalp and
how the hair
how
looks
it feels, how it looks
exactly.
and feels.
Bethany, how often? About the same for you?
About the same. In the winter, less often, so I'll maybe do once a week, like every 6 days. And then in the summer when I'm sweating and my scalp will get itchy, so like 3 to 4 days.
So a couple things. If you mentioned co-wash, can you explain what that means?
Sure. So ours is called Cream Cleansing Conditioner. Do we have it up there? Yep, right there. That's keep going to the right. So a co-wash is basically a conditioning conditioner, a conditioning cleanser, a conditioning cleanser. So do you guys remember back in the day, there was like a commercial, there was a person in the shower and they're like, I don't have time to wash and condition my hair. And then there was a 2-in-1.
Yes.
So it was basically all shampoo and very little conditioner.
Yeah.
Well, just think of
Flip the switch.
it's all conditioner and very little shampoo.
Cool.
Yeah, and it has a very light lather. So, I know that there was this whole no lather thing, and which is great if that's your thing. There are a lot of people
I guess it depends on what's making the lather, really, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So it's sulfate free for sure.
Yeah.
But for a lot of girls, particularly a lot of girls with really thick hair, just feel like, psychologically the lather makes me feel like my scalp is getting
I get it. I totally get that. Here's a question. Now, I learned about this on a previous textured hairbrain live, and it seemed to cause a little bit of controversy in that one. So I wonder what your, first of all, so Jose Rivera is asking, do you use the LOC method at all? And when do you use it? So you familiar with that, LOC?
So LOC, I know it's oil and cream. What is it? I don't remember. So no, I don't use
so,
it.
Yeah, all right, fair enough.
So no, I don't
But it was
use
like
it.
it's like, I don't remember it specifically either, but it was like the way you put the products in.
Yeah.
You put in, I don't know what the L stood for.
I don't remember.
Then the O was oil and then cream.
Yeah.
What's the L? Maybe someone out there will know.
Yes. Well,
But
actually,
people
what was
got
his name?
really lotion.
Lotion.
I can't remember.
Leave-in, maybe leave-in.
Leave-in and then oil and then cream. Leave-in,
So
oil,
technically,
cream.
yeah, kinda.
Yeah.
That's kind of how I do it. But then I go. So mine would be loco. Loco because I
Loco.
do.
That's a loco haircut.
Well, because I do leave in. My product has oil and cream, and then when you're done, I'm going back with oil to break up any of the holds. So yeah, loco.
Yeah, strangely, when we did it last time, some people loved it and supported it. Some
Yeah.
people were like, that's not, again, everyone's very passionate about it, which is great. It makes our industry unique.
Right.
But I remember there being like some controversy about if it was good, if it wasn't good.
But
I'm sure some people will chime in about that.
What I will say though is that the oil aspect of the whole thing, where it gets added is totally dependent upon the consistency of the hair.
Right.
So if the hair is porous, oil is going. If the hair is not porous, the oil is not going first.
It's going to sit on there and make it oily.
Yeah, exactly. So it depends, but
On
with
the fabric you're working with.
It depends, but with a reason, not just.
So this is a great shot because you can see just after this beautiful application of product, no product versus product. And, Tippy's just been working with her fingers and the product. So, I think it's one of the things, we're in an age where people are embracing texture more. And I personally, as someone with textured hair, I think it has a lot to do with product.
Mm-hmm.
Like when I was even in high school, I didn't wear my hair naturally curly. I tried to, in the morning, like wrap it dry. Because, we didn't really have anything. We had gel and mousse.
Exactly.
And
that gel, was hard and crunchy.
But now, when you look at all the things that brands like Mizani have developed, all these different variables, it's kind of making people with textured hair able to wear it and still feel polished and not feel like it's all thatched out.
Exactly, where it's dry or brittle or any of that. And that's exactly correct, Gerard, is that, I just think about back in the day, even when by the way, I think that's my daughter, sorry.
She wants more screen time.
Yeah, I think she wants more screen time. Sorry, guys, my daughter's calling me.
We were talking about that earlier, how Tippy is monitoring her daughter's screen time right there on her phone, and we thought that was fabulous. No, you can't have five more minutes.
Right.
Read a book.
Well, books is what she keeps asking me for, so I have to approve it. But I remember when I first started wearing my hair in its natural state, when I cut all my relaxer off, and I was living in Brooklyn, and this is like late 90s, and there just wasn't anything out there for me to wear my curls confidently. Without it being like crunchy and hard and so I had to do a lot of creative styling.
Yeah. So there we can see the effect of a beautiful application of product, which again, it took time and it was done thoroughly, but it's so important to the end result here, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So now we're just going to go into drying, and so the dryer is going to be on. So what I'm going to say is that because naturally drying is my preferred method, what I'm going to do is hold my diffuser over her hair, and what that does is it's all the hold that's in my curly products, it's going to start to cause that product to dry and eliminate any of the frizz. So it's kind of locking that product in, if that makes sense.
Absolutely. All right, so again, speak as loud as you can, because that dryer's got a monster engine on it.
All right, I'll turn it down.
Yeah. So tell us everything that you can about diffusing, because again, a simple thing, but not easy. It's so many people are afraid to use a diffuser.
Absolutely. If there's one takeaway for diffusing that I would say is that you don't want to put the hair in the diffuser and just hold it, because you don't know how it's laying in there, and it could dry askew. The technique for drying with a diffuser is light, gentle touching of the hand, in, out, in, out. And if you need to get to her root area, I'm going to have you dip your head all the way to the right like that.
Using head
So,
positioning.
Yeah, so now I can get in.
Justine and I just filmed a whole series of hand drying on wavy textured hair.
Really?
So yeah, a lot of great tips.
Yeah. So this allows me to get in here. It's allowing me to get some over direction here. And then for looser texture on top, I'm also able to get some spring in there. And so your guest is gonna dance with you.
Yeah, and I think just letting them know that like I'm gonna move your head around. It's important to, we can get the natural fall, we can get the curls, and that they learn a lot too, because it's something you can do at home that really makes a difference.
Exactly. All right, let's flip the other way.
Gives you access to the root. Yeah.
Exactly.
Is there a specific type of diffuser? I noticed you have like a basket with fingers.
Yeah, so I like a deep well.
Yeah, those
Very
are my
deep well.
favorite too. Yeah.
One thing I will say is I prefer a diffuser that comes with your blow dryer. I have tried one so it doesn't fall off, but also those universal, which that's what you have that make it work. But the universal attachments blow a lot of wind.
Yeah.
And wind is
They're
what's
not
creating.
fitting perfectly.
Exactly.
Yeah.
They blow a lot of wind, and as a result, you get a lot of fringe. So if you can get a dryer that.
Could you even explain there might be some people watching that don't even understand the concept of a diffuser.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So a diffuser blows air without wind. So I'm still getting the air and the heat, but I'm not getting the wind that a nozzle or just a plain blow dryer by itself would get.
So it really just lets the heat out, and because the airflow is what creates frizz. It blows the hair apart.
Exactly.
That's like we're saying, really with curly hair, the best curly you're gonna get is natural drying, just go about your business.
Exactly.
But we don't always have the time for that.
We don't have the time.
So this is emulating that. There's no, it's just heat.
Exactly. So, and I'll show you the difference very quickly. So this is diffuser. That's no diffuser.
Yeah.
Right?
So you're gonna confuse the curl.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Now, if I'm looking to add more volume, I can then blow it once it's totally dry. Because at that point, I'm disrupting the curl, but I'm disrupting the curl on purpose.
Right.
All right, I'm gonna turn you. We're gonna dip you all the way forward. Keep going.
Sylvester Montiel is asking a little bit about Mazzani as a brand. Is it an American brand? And it just makes me think, I know it's got quite a history, Mazzani. Can you share a little bit of the background?
Sure. So Mazzani launched in 1991, and it was created from soft sheen and red pen. And the reason why I was attracted to it back then, because I just graduated beauty school and I was a colorist. I was a hair color educator back in the day. And so I worked primarily on textured hair, and I wanted to use a relaxer or products that worked with textured hair and hair color that were hydrating and moisturizing enough, because a lot of the general market products at that time just weren't hydrating enough. So in 2001, Mazzani joined L'Oreal Professional and became part of L'Oreal Professional. So yes, it is an American-made brand, and it started in Chicago.
Word up.
Yes.
Just like house music.
Yeah.
Started in Chicago.
Well, I don't know. I don't know if anyone from the Bronx will agree with you.
So again, moving the head in different positions, using the open basket, but not just leaving it in there to bake for too long. Constantly moving, getting a spring out of it.
Yep, in and out. Also, if you're looking to build volume from the onset, using the diffuser versus natural air drying is the way to do that.
Now, do you focus on a certain area? Like, do you try to get the root dry first, or coming to the ends first?
I do.
Yeah.
I work simultaneously, so
Yeah.
as I have her work, I make sure that I do put the dryer
Root
in at the root.
and root,
Exactly.
yeah, because I think sometimes people diffuse dry, they just dry the ends, and the
Yeah.
roots are just flat and
Soaking wet,
damp.
and then they're confused why the hair has grown 5
Yeah.
inches
Right.
over 5 minutes. So I'm looking for a bit of lift and volume, so I'm making sure that I'm slightly over directing these sections.
I mean, what's your theory with, do you dry it 100%, or
At
do you
least
leave a
70.
little? Yeah.
At least 70. Considering you're going to have to go back in and double check your cut.
Yeah, you really have to get the moisture out of there so you can see what's happening.
hair does take a little while to dry. If the hair dries too quick, that means that you didn't add enough moisture to the hair.
That's a good tip though. So meaning the right product with it's going to supply moisture.
Exactly.
So it shouldn't just dry like in a minute.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have you flip all the way back. There we go. All right, and you turn all the way back
Yeah,
around.
those flips are a big part of it. It's amazing how many people are terrible at flipping their hair. I'll always be like, come on, you can do better than
I'm like,
that.
no, do it like you're in a commercial.
Yeah.
All right. Start to
Beautiful
come
finish
around.
on the curl there. Nice and defined. Shape is drying in beautifully. Guys, if you're just joining us, we're getting close to the finish here. And you missed some great stuff if you're just joining us because Tippy showed us her new technique cutting technique she's developed for Mizani called air cutting using a glide technique and this fun pair of curved shears, which I'm a big fan of. And you'll be able to watch that at any time. Then she walked us through how to apply product and which Mizani products were perfect for Bethany's texture. She's got a really interesting combination and recipe, different things in different areas. And then she took us through really the beauty and the art of diffused drying. There's a lot to it to get it right. And that was a great lesson. We're getting close to the finish now. When the hair is dry, will you be doing a little bit more checking on the
Yeah, I'll
cut?
just go back in and check. And then put a little 25 Miracle Oil, which is the sister to the 25 Miracle Milk. And yeah, this will be done.
Yeah, for those out there wondering about products, I had a couple questions about what was used here. Started off with the Miracle Milk here, even while cutting, and then used combinations in different areas of the coil oil gel, which I'm leaving here with today for sure, and the curl enhancing lotion. Can you remind us again why you chose one over the other?
Sure. So the curl enhancing gel has a really great sheen, has really lightweight hold, and it's perfect for texture types, I'd say 2 through 6, particularly if you've got non-porous hair. But because she has 6, like a type 6 curl in the front and it shrinks, she has a high shrinkage rate there, I wanted more elongation. So the coil oil gel has a bit more slip and a bit more hold, so it helps to elongate those curls to match the rest of the curls.
Thank you for that recap. Sylvester, the educator's name is Tippy Shorter. She's a texture specialist, and she's now the global artistic director for Mizani, which is fantastic, being able to share and spread the love of textured hair.
Yeah.
Share her techniques
Texture
for cutting and
love.
styling.
Yep. I'll have you dip all the way. I'm going to bring you back. All right, you dip forward for me. That's fine. You're fine. There we go. All right. So now she's about 70% dry, and I can go in and start creating some of my volume. So all I'm doing is using my fingers as a rake and shaking it out.
So you feel like the curl was set in enough and formed enough that now you can start to loosen it up?
Exactly.
Just the fingers. Probably
Just the
feels pretty good,
fingers.
Bethany, right?
Yeah, I do have a product that I would use to make sure that it maintains the volume. There's 1 of 2 products, and they're over there now. You can grab them. They're the lived-in texture sprays. Yep. So that actually helps expand the curl. So if I want like maximum volume, it is a lightweight spray that I spray just at the root, and it expands it. Or I can use the lived-in texture cream. Yeah, so that's the lived-in texture cream that I would just put in my hands and then go in and massage, and that's what I'm gonna do.
So you've got kind of products that you're using wet to build the shape in, products that you can use before you started cutting, and then finishing products.
Exactly.
And what's the setting on the dryer?
So I am medium heat, medium wind.
And is that generally what you do, or does it
It
vary?
is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Lots of love coming in. Kristen McRae says gorgeous. Rakitia says beautiful.
Thank you.
Manisha says very pretty. Yeah, beautiful texture for Bethany here. Beautiful finish. Amazing what, a little shaping, a little air cutting,
Yeah.
the right products and diffusing can do for the hair.
Exactly. Thank you guys for watching. I'm really happy and honored that you decided to hang out with us for this hour.
Yeah, you had a lot of love coming in. People really, really enjoying this lesson. Very thankful for you to share all the things you've learned. How many years you've been doing hair, Tippy?
So I know I dated myself when I said that I started using Mizani when it launched in 91.
Yeah.
But I have been doing hair. I got my license in 94. A very long time. I don't even know how many years. Was it 25 years? Very long time.
25 years. Congratulations.
Thank you. I need to celebrate.
It's a good thing.
All right, you can go ahead and flip that. All right, look at that.
Beautiful, and the shape really just kind of pulled it all together.
Yeah.
That little air cutting, the gliding, really just just what she needed.
Yeah, her hair was really long, really heavy. So and then you saw the shape. So the shape that she had prior to me wetting it down and adding product is what her last day of styling will be. So if she wants it to be that full and that big, which I personally would, I would have ran out of here if I were you, like 10 minutes ago.
Bigger the better.
Yeah, so 25 Miracle Milk is what I'm now using just to make sure she leaves with moisture, as much hydration as she can, because you can never, ever, ever overhydrate curly hair. I like to say there's so much traffic between here and here that the natural oils just don't make their way. They get stuck, they make a U-turn, and they go back. How you feeling, Beth?
I love it.
Yes.
I love it.
So good. All right, and so that lived-in texture cream that I spoke about, I'll just give you a super quick. So this has a little grip. It's a matte grip. It's also good for edges for those of you that like the baby hairs that I learned to call artful edges.
Artful edges.
Artful edges.
Slicking them down, so to speak.
That's so not my thing. But someone said, think of it as artful edges. I said, okay, I could do that. I have a whole different new respect for it now. So it's a matte cream. I'm just gonna go into her hair and massage.
The massage.
Yes, and massages in the areas that I want to build that volume. All right, you see that volume I just created? Her looks fabulous.
Beautiful.
All right, and so she's about, I'm gonna say she's close to 80% dry. I'm just checking my shape now, so some of those curls that, very few.
Yeah, internally the shape looks great. It's always, even with the straightest haircut, afterwards it's always the outline.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's the same here with curly hair.
Exactly.
It's just going to that hairline, outline.
Because what happens is you end up, you have curls because you're not combing it or you're not raking it. You have curls that are hiding.
Here's a good question from Floor. She's wondering, how would you freshen this up after she sleeps on it if you're not going to wash it, or
Yeah.
what would you recommend?
You would do a pineapple. I want you guys to follow me because I actually just created something called the perfect pineapple. And I have one to give you, I think. I'm going to send you home. But basically, you just, I'll do it on me because I don't want to mess up her fresh. I don't mind me messing up mine. So basically, it's a satin line scarf that all your hair covers everything from hairline to where my hands are, and all your curls sit at the top. And then when you wake up in the morning, you let it out, you get a little Miracle Milk, and you massage around your hair line
Loosen it up
to
and put
loosen it
moisture
up.
back into it.
Exactly, and then you're good to go.
Cool.
Yeah.
Awesome. Again, just tiny bits of refining around the edges, and I want to say, as you've been doing that it's been great. I've learned a ton. I love simple, effective techniques, and that's what we saw here. If you're just joining us and you missed this, you want to be able to watch this, we've got it on our Facebook page under the video section. You can go back at any time. We've got quite a lot of curly and textured hair lessons, so you can go through and view those and create a little training program for yourself. This is going to add a lot to that repertoire of textured curly hair. I'm gonna let you finish this off, Tippy. I know you've got a few well-placed little slices here, and then you can take it away for us.
Awesome. Yeah, so again, thank you guys for joining us. We are pretty wrapped. How are you feeling, Bethany? What do you
Love
think
it.
about it?
Feeling
Looks
good.
amazing.
Let's see her without that cape.
Yes, shake it out a little.
Show us.
Yeah.
There you go.
There you go. Live in it, yeah.
Beautiful.
Awesome. Gorgeous.
Thank you so much, Tippy. Let's jump in here.
All right. Awesome.
Thank you, Bethany. You look gorgeous. Thank you, Tippy. Thanks for everyone that tuned
Thanks,
in,
guys.
and we'll see you again just in a few days. We're going to be doing some more HB Lives every day. Peace out, guys.
Bye.